I lost the screen. There we go. Found it. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Woo! Good evening, everybody. Let's do a sound check here. Let me make sure I can hear everybody from the stream. So let's take it around the horn. Kyle.
Hey, what up, everyone?
Cool. And John.
What you gonna do when Parkmania runs wild on you?
Cry to our mothers. And how about you, Apollo?
Words come out of mouth.
All right, we're good. Not that I have a different, I don't have a mixer at all. I just want to make sure that the little bar moves when you talk so that it's going across the thing. All right, so we have got a pretty good show here. As you guys can see, if you're watching here before I hit the record button, we are going to be doing a roundtable discussion. So this is going to be kind of, it's structured. It's more structured than I usually make a show, but it's not as structured as, say, MTG Goldfish or one of those other roundtables that do it by default. So, John, it's up to you, man, if you're watching.
What?
Or the other John.
Oh.
So there's no confusion of what are we calling each other during the podcast?
I'm going to call you guys by the names I usually do, Parkman or John, Kyle, and Apollo. I mean, I could call you Matthew because it's in the lower left, but I don't think you like that.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Apollo's fine.
All right. Do you need me to...
Does it say that on stream?
I can take it off the stream. I'll just filter it.
No. A little bit, please.
Yeah. I will filter that stuff right out.
Gotta hide from the cops.
No one can know who I am.
Yeah, and they don't get Parkman.
I don't care if anyone knows my
name.
name.
Exactly. Kyle, you and I are on the top. There's nothing I can do about that.
Don't matter. Don't matter.
All right. So, yeah, I'm trying to find out if John wants to... John's talking about stepping in. Whoa. That was a weird sound. Did anybody else hear the weird sound?
Kind of.
Froze for a second.
I froze. All right. John's saying,
jitter.
I guess John is going to come in. So we're going to get the other John as well. I'm going to play my deck for 35 minutes.
Oh, wrong thing.
I'm not bitter. Not bitter. All right, so we'll kind of vamp for a little bit here, guys. So the show's going to be kind of fun tonight. We'll go into kind of how it's going to run so that the people will get the audio. But this is our official launch. This is it, man. For the foreseeable future, this is how it's going to be. We're going to have rotating guest hosts. We're going to have, special shows like this. We're going to do it up a little differently. So I've been actually actively involved in a podcast group on Reddit. And one of the things they were like, yeah, if you've got people willing to rotate in and out, you could have fun with that. I'm like, that's a good point. So we'll keep it there for now. And then, if I don't like one of you, I'll just be like, coincidentally, we're just not going to have you on the show anymore. So,
Works for me.
No, I'm kidding. But let's see here. And we are streaming. Okay, we've got some viewers on things. So, all right. Hurry up, John. John, if you're coming. Oh, and by the way, guys, I personally, now, again, the language rule applies. You guys can say whatever you need. I am personally going to try very, very hard to start cleaning up my act a little bit because I realize I've been listening to some of these episodes. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a trucker. So, and we have John. Oh, no. Oh, crap. All right. Let me see if I can figure out how to get your name. Apollo.
Oh, shit.
You got moved. Yeah. Do I get a chance to, can I move people around?
Can you?
You should be able to.
Actually, I wonder
if I can make it so that those aren't on the stream. I mean, we're on cast right now, but obviously. Let me see if there's a way to take off. Well, if only there was a resource out there where you could put in information and ask a question.
Whoops.
And then
I don't know how to undo that.
What? What'd you do?
I disappeared.
No, you're not. You're there.
good.
Oh, I just hit it for myself.
If you go into the
hey, there he is, John. Turn the camera off. Turn the camera off. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
In your video screen, for the three dots up top in the upper right, you can rename yourself.
Oh yeah, rename yourself.
Cool. I hid that, and now I can't find it.
Hit escape. Maybe
I hid my square.
Oh.
Maybe hit escape. Maybe I could change your name.
If you hit your square, I mean, does it show in the lower left like stop video or show video?
Yeah.
I got rename right here. Haha, I got it.
Nice. Flash his name on screen.
There you go.
John, do you want to be renamed or?
No, it doesn't really matter.
All right. Parkman, we'll call you Parkman because we have 2 Johns now. So, all right. I think we're ready then if you guys are. John, do you have the document up with the questions? There was a doc with questions.
I figured it out.
Ah.
As I can now see myself in the stream participants as well. I hid myself and I couldn't.
Welcome to the stream.
For the record, I did actually I did fill out of my own answers to those questions.
Okay, cool. So you do have answers. All right, hold on. I'm going to fix the filter here because it's kind of cutting out John. It's cutting out Parkman. So I need to fix the filter here. Maybe put it at 25. That looks about right, which means 25 on the left side. Nope. 15. There we go. OBS filters are great if you do the cropping and padding, but then if something changes, things break. Okay. All right. Who's got the background noise? If you can mute, we don't want that going across. If we can, that was John. Okay, good. He's got it. All right, guys. I think we're ready. If everybody's ready, I'm going to start the recording of the audio stuff. So after that, this is going to be the episode. Now, if we screw something up or whatever, we'll edit it later. So, but everybody feel good? Thumbs up. All right. Well, like I said, we'll start with me doing the intro as I normally do. I will then go around the room. It's going to go in the order on my screen. So Kyle, Parkman, Appollo, and John Bain. That is how my screen is going. If you have the podcast open, you can see it. I'm kind of in the middle, which, let's face it, boys and girls, I am the center. All right. All right. Rock indoor roll.
You're
all right, I'm going to start
Davis?
Yeah, right? Exactly. I'm going to start this thing off, guys. You ready?
Ready.
All right, so I'm going to hit the record here. I'm going to record that to the cloud.
Recording in progress.
They notified me that we were recording.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me a chance to leave.
Yes, and now that I'm recording, that's in the recording. Thanks, Apollo.
Every time I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in.
Yeah. All right. Take 2. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the DR Casual MTG podcast, the show by casuals for casuals. I'm your host, Will, and I am joined tonight by a plethora of people. We have a roundtable discussion. This is our actual first official launch party, so I'm very, very excited for that. You know what? Let's get that right into up tap so that we can get that done, and then I'll introduce these guys. So first of all, I want to take a second to recognize our rare level patrons. That's Apollo, Jake, Levi, Bell, Muertes, Vic, Parkman, Chiba Tank, and Spencer. These people help out in just so many ways. One thing they get right now, but we are working on this. We are going to enhance the Patreon. But right now what they get is the first chance to hang with us on our Thursday CommanderCraft broadcast. If you want to get in on that, just go to patreon.com/drcasualmtg, and eventually we're going to have better levels on that. Which is a reminder that CommanderCraft is our now Thursday show where we play listeners like you using webcams in 4-person Commander. John has joined us tonight. He's our champion with Chillane, which is the most fun deck to watch somebody else play. But we're going to find 2 other guys to play with us or 2 other people, I should say, play with us Thursday night. If you want to find out more, check out our Discord, discord.drcasualmtg.com. We also want to remind you that we are part of the Geek to Geek Media Network. This is a network of geeky podcasts and other type of content dedicated to promoting positivity and inclusion, as well as just showcasing some really awesome talent and great stuff. They have a ton of great content for you there. Just go to geek2geekmedia.com. That's GEEKTOGEEK, because now there's a few. So check that out. But we are still in Untap, and I am untapping tonight. You know what? I'll do the beer later because I think other people might have some. Let's kind of go around the room. We have a roundtable tonight. I wanted to do something special for the first show, and we're going to do it. So we are joined tonight by 4 other hosts, listeners. They've played on CommanderCraft. They've sat second chair with me since we've kind of been doing these, test shows and stuff. I'm very excited to introduce, first of all, Kyle. Kyle, I've been with since Legends TV Talk. One of my favorite people in the entire world. It's really great to have you here, Kyle. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. And for Untap, I am drinking a Milwaukee Brewing Company Outboard cream ale. This is the first time I've had it, so we all get it.
Are you sure you want to drink a cream ale while we're doing an hour podcast? If you need to leave, we will understand. All right, Parkman.
Ooh, that's good.
Is it
That's
good?
Yeah.
We're also joined by Parkman. I think he co-hosted episode 2, maybe 3. Episode 3, right?
Was it 2? I was thinking maybe 2, but
Maybe 2.
could have
It
been
might have
3.
been 2. I know I did an episode alone. I don't know that I counted it, but all right. So episode 2, Parkman. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful, and I will be untapping a wonderful Dr. Pepper.
Wow, that is very good. Because wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Let's move on to Apollo. He co-hosted the last show we did right before the holidays. Sir, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, and I am untapping a strawberry banana smoothie with a shot of orange juice. Feeling frisky tonight.
That sounds incredibly too healthy for our own good. All right, and finally, we are joined by John. John, sir, how are you?
I'm feeling pretty good right now. Just got off work and saw the notice. It was like, oh shit, I've got a thing to do. So, right now I'm just untapping that relief that I made it in time.
My legs. Yes, my shoes. I'm untapping my shoes. Keep the shoes on, dear Lord. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do tonight. So we're in a very cool thing. So you know what? And by the way, I am drinking a Fat Scotsman Scotch Ale. So I thought it was appropriate given that I am a fat Irishman. But I want to kind of talk about a little bit here of what we're going to see tonight. So let's move into upkeep. And I need to scroll, and my mouse got lost. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen tonight. So tonight, we're going to do a little bit of a longer introduction here in a little bit. Let us tell you a little bit about yourselves. And then we're going to introduce kind of the format. We have a specific format going for tonight. We've got about 5 or 6 questions, depending, maybe more, maybe less, that we want to kind of go about talking about things in the last year, things that we are looking forward to, Magic in general. It's just going to be a broad topic of awesome discussion, and then we'll end the show. So that's kind of where we're at. So why don't we go ahead and get into the main phase? Main phase. All right, so I've already introduced our panelists. Well, they introduced themselves. But I kind of want to give them a chance to kind of give us their bona fides, as it were, whenever we have a new host. And Kyle's new-ish. John was on a few weeks ago in Apollo, so if you want to pass or just mildly. And now we have Jake. Oh, this is fantastic. We're going to kind of go through, just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit how you got into Magic, how long you've been playing. Not, keep it somewhat shortness. Kyle, why don't you kick us off?
Sure. I got started with Magic back July 4th, 2021. I have been playing very seldomly. Stuff in my life changed, so I couldn't get every single new card out. I've been keeping up with Magic as best I can. But like from this point on, I think it's just commander decks for me.
I don't blame you.
The amount it's expensive. I understand, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to 2023 and what Wizards has.
Okay, and now Jake's got his camera on. That's great. Parkman, how about you? You're muted, brother. You mute.
There we go. As soon as I get my mouse to cooperate, as people may have heard when I was on this show a few weeks ago, I started back in 1994, the fall of. I've been in and out of the game several times. I owned a store from 06 and through 11, and I got back into it about 4 years ago when my son wanted to learn how to play.
That's fantastic. Sorry about my facial expression. I wasn't expecting this to taste like that. That's a hearty beer. Jake, my brother, can you speak? Can you hear us?
I think so. Is the microphone working?
It is working. Real quick, why don't you give us your a small, 30-second elevator introduction to who Jake is, and definitely pimp your podcast.
So I started playing Magic around 2012 in high school. Some friends of mine played in cafeteria, and I was like, that looks fun, and I hate having money. And then fast forward, years and years and years. I actually got out of it for college, got back into it after college because my buddy Matt, who is the co-host on our podcast, the Cantrip Cartel podcast.
Oh, very good.
You look like you hate money. You should play Magic again. So I started playing it. It slowly evolved from EDH into competitives. Now I play Legacy, I play Modern, I play Standard, I play them all.
You play
I got quite a
Standard?
collection.
You're the one.
Yeah, on Arena, I play quite a bit of Standard
okay.
on Arena. And the one guy left playing. And like I said, it eventually evolved into me and my buddy Matt starting our own podcast, talking about some of the Eternal formats and some of the more competitive stuff. And like I said, that is, if you want to check us out, it's Cantrip Cartel pretty much everywhere. So, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all that stuff.
Cool. All right, Apollo, how about yourself, man? Give us a quick intro here.
Yeah, I started Magic the Gathering probably back in around 2016, 2017 when I was in college. Picked it up. I had just come off of a couple card games. Like I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a little bit, playing another JRPG card game for a little bit. And then all of them died in my store. So he's like, why don't you just jump into a Magic draft? And I jumped into a Magic draft, drafted a Nicobolus the God Pharaoh, and did not win the draft, but I did kill somebody with Nicobolus. And that was now my favorite Planeswalker, even though he's a villain.
Oh, that's fantastic. Why don't you get in on this? And of course, he's thinking to himself, come, the first draft is free.
And I first got in with you guys probably sometime early last spring, last winter. I jumped in. You posted a tournament on Facebook, and I just jumped in.
Yes.
And then I've been here ever since.
Well, we're glad you're here. We could not be happier. All right, John, how about you, my brother?
So I got into Magic a little earlier than that, around 2010. My mom dragged us around through Target, saw that they were selling a couple of card games for cheap in their discount rack, so I grabbed a Phyrexia versus the Coalition.
Ooh.
Dual deck, played with my brother, and to this day, Bant is one of my favorite colors because of Treva, the Renewer.
That's what I love about Commander. All right, that is fantastic. So this is our panel tonight. We got five peeps hanging with us. Very excited for that. So here's how tonight is gonna go. We're gonna have a roundtable discussion. I've got, like I said, 5 or 6 questions. We're gonna go around the table just answering them. So it's gonna start again, as I said, Jake, before you got here. I'm just going around the screen as I see it. So Kyle, Parkman, you, Apollo, and Bane. And myself, I'll probably start and then we'll take it around. No, I'll come in second. The reason we're going to do this, and just kind of talk about stuff. So short answer to the question initially, like give a little bit of your response, kind of show us what you're thinking. And then we're going to have a small debate about it for maybe 5-10 minutes. Trying to just wondering, asking questions. So try to give each other time to talk. If you think somebody, if you want to ask a question, maybe have a pad or something ready to go to ask that question. Of course, conversation is conversation. So if it comes up conversationally, whatever. And that's going to be it. So I kind of want to take the first question. We'll give this to Kyle. Actually, yeah, we'll start with Kyle and then question 2. I'll start. That's how we do it. Smart. All right. So Kyle, question number 1, what? And guys, I'm doing this at the beginning because you can't not ask this question. What do you think was the biggest misstep by Wizards this year and why?
So looking at it as someone who has basically just started, that $100 or $1,000 Magic set that had all the reprints,
the MTG 30,
it's not for the. It's not for the casual player. It's not for someone who doesn't have a lot of money, unfortunately.
Right.
I think it's great what they did, but it's if they want everyone to have access to it, do something similar to it, but for the masses.
Okay.
That, and I think just the amount of sets that come out during a year.
You can't do 2, 1.
Well, sorry.
You might have took somebody else's answer.
I'm sorry if I took someone else's answer.
For me, I'm gonna take a very broad stroke on this. I think the whole so far of the MTG 30 celebration has been remarkably tone deaf, and I've said it on shows before, so I'm not going to go terribly in depth here. I think that was a misstep. I think from the MTG 30 celebration in Vegas to the MTG 30, anniversary packs The only thing that they seem to have gotten right, and that's only because I could participate in it, given where my income level is, was I loved the MTG30 Secret Lair. I thought that was fantastic. The countdown, the advent calendar stuff. But I really think that the MTG30 was a misstep. Parkman, how about you?
Well, I'm going to say that I think the biggest misstep they had was, and they've been doing it for several years now, they're chasing the immediate dollar at the expense of the long-term health of the game.
Yes, I agree with that. Any other thoughts? Or
I mean, that it's really, I don't know that there's anything more to say about that. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. You either chase the whale or you keep the game going.
I agree.
We are not Captain Ahab here.
Definitely. It really feels like Wizards tried to promise too much their shareholders and their investors, and through their ideas they felt, okay, well, this will definitely draw in those final quarter numbers that we've been projecting and maybe even push us past it. But they really just underestimated how much liquidity is involved with the casual player. They're focused too much on the hardcore fans and the diehards to really keep catering to those of us who, occasionally may pop in for a pre-release or show up just to have a pickup game and just to see what's new in standard, or see what fun tools they've come up with for Commander.
Right, and I think they're also taking the long-term player for granted in this instance. I think they feel like, hey, we've got them. They've hooked up their IV to our product, and they're not gonna get off of it anytime soon.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a big mistake on their part.
Well, what about you, Jake? What do you think?
So my 30-minute soliloquy will start with, no, I think what WotC did that bugged me the most, and I think was a big failure as an overall design philosophy, is they went way too hard in the paint on this product is not for you. If you think about all of the blogatogs and the complaints and the discussions Mario's had with people, you're dealing with a lot of this, well, you don't like this because it's not for you. And every single product became, well, it's just not for you. And you can't take something like Magic and just keep marginalizing it down to attack a smaller and smaller and smaller. Well, this group of people is just for this very narrow niche.
Exactly.
This is for just this very narrow niche. And that's why I think you really started to see products start to fail. We definitely hit an overload of critical mass for just, cards in general, like people have said, which I think is very true. And the other part of that is we're not making it for you too much. Yeah. Magic needs to be a little broader for everybody. And they tried to go too narrow this year, way, way too narrow.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and I think that getting back to Kyle's point, the 30th anniversary, who is it for? Because if you're a whale, the pack's not for you because you want to buy the original.
I think there's a definite middle ground between the dude who wants to be a whale but can't blow 30 grand or 50 grand on a Black Lotus.
Right.
You're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. But I see the whale they were attacking here for a little, the chasing those collectibles. And so a great example, a great comparison, think about the Neon Hitotsugus. That card is, for all intents and purposes, unplayable. I mean, it's an okay card at best.
Yeah.
Commander.
But everybody
they're selling
it.
For $500, $800, $1,000, thousands, depending on what colors you're looking for. And these cards are very similar in my mind, where a lot of them will sell for thousands and thousands of dollars. They are, for all intents and purposes, unplayable, but they attack attack is a strong word. They go after the people that have a lot of money and want to collect, and they're very collectible, not playable.
Well, let's ask Apollo. Apollo, what do you think was the biggest misstep this year?
The biggest misstep, I think, was failing to recognize that there was a problem. So going into the last quarter of 2022, there's a lot of media coverage saying how, like, even the Bank of America came out, like, there is clear decline in Hasbro stock, showing that their product line is failing. And instead of recognizing that they were failing, and bringing up some sort of action plan or whatnot, all you get is a one-liner on a stream. Oh, we're going to continue what we're doing for next year. There's no change to the schedule.
Right. And John, what about you? You kind of hopped in, but do you have anything else, or we want to open the floor up a little?
I mean, my point was more or less what Park was touching on. The issue, more or less, is that Wizards promised a lot to Hasbro. They're trying too hard to get money out of the casuals and the tryhards just to fund these other projects, not realizing that, by only focusing on where the big money is, you're going to lose out on the smaller revenue that comes from the casual player.
Exactly.
And it sort of just squeezes us out by saying this product is not for you. We understand that it's for your piggy banks, but at the same time, you got to ask, at what point do they matter more than the majority of people you want to try to bring into Magic?
Yeah. And they're falling into that same trap that they had years ago that they claim they've addressed now by taking advantage of the Commander people. They said they overlooked the casual player. Well, they're doing it again.
So
I mean, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna jump in on a bit of a tangent. So by all means, finish the thought on this.
I mean, between them trying to push 1D&D as a new VTT platform, the Arena still trying to monetize that to the umpteenth degree, and it's all these little pieces that unfortunately they're trying to squeeze into a box and sell it for way more than it's worth.
So I was going to jump in because we were talking about, just the way they've been the way they've been attacking audiences and the way they've been, neglecting casual players or overstimulating whales. I was going to jump in that as a very competitive player, which is my primary way to engage with Magic. I love playing EDH, but I much prefer to play Legacy, to play Modern, a little bit of Standard on Arena when I can. I don't buy cards anymore because Standard isn't too bad. They've done okay with that recently, but Modern and Legacy especially, they got so gutted with this new product design, with Fire design and what came forward, and the way they've pushed these crazy powerful cards for the extra formats. I don't keep up with my Legacy deck anymore, and that should say something. I'll tell you what, I sold my dual lands.
Wow.
I'm not out. I'm not totally out. I have one dual land for the deck, but I sold 2 of my dual lands. I'm kind of walking away from playing paper non-proxy Legacy a little bit because it just doesn't interest me as much. The format has been trashed for a long time. WotC shows no interest in repairing it. I get this is a very niche area, especially Legacy. We're talking niche. But I'm not excited for new sets to buy cards for my Legacy deck. I love playing Blue-White Control, and I used to buy all the cards that would be good in Blue-White Control. I haven't bought cards in months, man. My deck is so just scattered and destroyed. And
well, it's funny that you mentioned that because it is something that they don't discuss, is that having so much focus on the whales and stuff like that, they're losing the competitive nature of the game. I mean, they're not really going for Pro Tours anymore or anything like that. It's like they've removed, and we should have seen this coming. I think, it's been discussed before on this show and its former show, is that, Hasbro Wizards, I don't know who, doesn't really care anymore about the competitive scene. They've kind of, washed their hands of it, and they're looking for ways to make money of it.
Yeah, they care about it as much as they can milk money out of it,
right?
Which is incredibly evident for Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2.
Well, that's just it. They introduced rotation. It's introduced rotation into eternal formats.
Eternal formats. Yes, exactly that. So you've got, a lot of people played Modern for 5-6 years. Their deck was okay or tier, and it was fine. And now with Modern, if you're not playing Modern Horizons 2, we talk about it every week.
Yeah.
The top 5 creatures are all Modern Horizons 2 creatures. If you're not playing MH2, you're not playing Modern probably as good as you could.
Right. but you also have to be able to afford to play. It's a sad state, and I almost want to change my answer to introducing rotation, but they did that last year. I mean, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. What about you, Kyle? You had any other thoughts on?
No,
oh, okay.
I mean, no. I was making sure I wasn't muted too. My whole second thing about them having too many sets. I know expansions are there to keep the game alive, but you also have to figure that, I mean, it could be a lot to the standard player being like, oh, I just got all these cards. Now 2 months later there's another set out, and now you have to go back and get all those other cards. It's hard to keep track of everything. And like for Kamigawa, I was really excited for Kamigawa. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a set I'm gonna try and get a whole lot for, and then it's like, oh, there's another set already.
Yep.
Well,
great.
In the vein of all these new sets, who remembers how cool spoiler season was?
Oh yeah.
And now it's when have we've been in spoiler season for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, and you and I have a unique perspective being content creators. Okay, it's really tough for us because we can't have these type of discussions with, right now it's the quiet time of spoilers, but it's going to ramp up in a couple of weeks with.
I mean, is it the quiet time?
Yeah,
we had Elish Norn get spoiled a week ago.
Yeah, but that 2 months. It was about 3 weeks ago, right before the holidays. But it's going to kick into It's going to kick into high gear.
I remember Twitter was blowing up.
Yeah,
because we got Phyrexia spoilers.
That's just it. But it's going to kick into high gear with Phyrexia going forward.
Isn't that a good thing to get the buzz going for these sets? I know I just said that there is a lot of sets, but it is good to get that kind of buzz out there.
Yes and no.
I think it was because it was special.
It was.
This is we turned. I'll let you peek into my life. I love going to Texas Roadhouse. It's one of my favorite little. Spend a little extra money on dinner. If we go to Texas Roadhouse 3 times a week, it's not special anymore.
I'm good with that.
And I think that's what they did with spoiler season. Spoiler season was hitting. Was let's go have a nice dinner once in a blue moon, and it's awesome. And now it's we do it all the time. It's the same food. It's the same stuff. It's not special anymore.
Show of hands, who all here played in a pre-release where they had no idea any of the cards going in?
Oh, hold on. Yeah. I think I've done that at least once.
Well, in the 90s especially, that used to be how it was. You might get one card. Like, because what was the name of the magazine there? Insight. Insight might have had like one. Inquest, that's it. They would have had like one card that they would have previewed. But you'd be rolling in and not having any clue about.
Oh yeah,
and it was fantastic, and it was what you kind of wanted to see. I do miss those days. Yeah,
good. I was saying nowadays you've got like limited resources. You have a full set release a week before pre-release. Or a full set review and a draft guide where they've been pseudo drafting off of websites for weeks already.
Yep. I mean, I like what Wizards is doing, and I guess let's pivot to that because, I mean, that's going to be my answer. Question number 2, we've talked about the negative. We kind of kicked them while they're down. What do you think Wizards did this year that was good for the game or the community? I'm not going to take the easy answer. I'm going to take one that's a little bit obscure. I really like that they fixed the whole, we're going to release on Arena before we give it to the LGS. That always bothered me. Now they've moved away from pre-releases. Let's be honest. We called that a year ago. They're moving away from pre-releases. Pre-release is no longer a thing. They're selling everything the day of pre-release. You can get boosters and boxes and everything. All right, great. Now they're not doing that and I love the biggest part of what I love about this is, and why they say they still have a pre-release is that pre-release is still only store specific. It's only LGS specific. You can't go to like Walmart and get a box of Phyrexia All Will Be One. You still have to go to the game store. I think that's fantastic what Wizards did. I think it was stupid if they didn't. But I think it was really, really great. I like the fact that they've kind of backed off Arena as far as that goes because it really did impact the bottom line, I think, of LGS is it definitely made pre-release less fun. I mean, yes, it's figured out, but it's not as figured out as if you've been playing it for 4 days on Arena for 12 hours. So some guy walks in and knows how to put that together. What about you, Parkman? What do you think this year?
I was going to say, I'm I'm not sure that they actually have fully fixed that, because I think they're going back to it again, back to Arena being first for Phyrexia.
I thought they weren't releasing that until the day of the pre-release.
I will gladly be wrong, but I was thinking that they did Arena first again. But
I think I've heard that as well. That because I remember I was ecstatic when I heard that pre-release was a card shop thing again, and I was like, "Way to actually care about your LGS a little bit, WotC."
No.
And I believe I heard them dial it back.
Pre-release February 3rd through 9th, I think it's been pushed to the 10th.
Sure.
Digital release February 7th. Actually, no, it's saying 3rd through 9th is pre-release. Hold on. So yeah, I think it got moved. They moved, yeah, because it got moved a week. So pre-release is 3rd through 9th February. So a month from today. Digital release is February 7th. So yeah, they're
still giving the LGS 3 or 4 days ahead of schedule.
Okay, I'm pleased with that.
Me
Absolutely.
too. It's a big win.
That's a very good decision. So,
but my big thing that Wizards did this year, and this might be controversial, especially coming from me, a person who doesn't play Commander.
Save your hot take. We have a hot take question.
The hot take is still there.
All right, good.
But the 40K Commander decks.
Interesting.
Because if you're wanting to draw in that casual person that is already inclined to gaming, yeah, I think the cross promotion is a good thing from their perspective. Not necessarily from all of ours, but I think it's a good thing to draw more people, to help draw more people in.
I think you're just wrong. And
that'll be the debate section. Jake, what about you? What's your positive?
No. So I would tell you what, I have a positive that is absolutely a hot take, and I will save it till the end.
Save it to the hot take question, but so you don't have anything now?
No, I do.
Okay.
I believe it was this year. I think it was. Oh, it might have been last year. They all kind of blend together. Can someone remind me? Was it this year that WotC committed to putting unique Universe Beyond cards on the list?
Yes.
Was it this year?
Well, they started it this year with the they put the
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Yes,
in the
they put Stranger Things,
decks.
and they said, "Listen, we're going to put these."
It was Stranger Things into New Capenna.
New Capenna, not Kamigawa. Sorry.
But they came out and they said, "Look, we recognize that people are very upset about these unique cards in Secret Layers. How this is very FOMO-ish. It's a second reserve list, and we are going to solve it by 1, putting them in set boosters on the list, and 2, at a relatively high drop rate."
Which they did.
That was a large. Yes, they did. They Matt and I were very, very against Universes Beyond. I don't like the unique cards in FOMO Secret Layers, and they solved that. That answered a lot of our complaints where we were relatively okay with the Godzilla style skins, kind of reskinning a card for something else. This is that in reverse, but basically the same thing, and I'm pretty okay with it. We basically have alters now. And
my Transformer Secret Lair will be here next week.
There you go. I'm okay with WotC sanctioned alters. I'm relatively strongly against unique Universes Beyond cards that are only available in Secret Layers.
All right. How about you, Apollo? What do you got? Positive.
Well, my positive thing was hijacked a little bit. Give me a pass while I think of a new one.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can have multiples. I mean, we thought that would happen.
You can agree with me.
Yeah, no. So my good thing, actually something that I really enjoyed. I'll go. It's not that much of a hot take. I did enjoy the Universes Beyond Warhammer set. As not necessarily a fan of Warhammer, I think it's actually a great outro to it. So I actually want to get into Warhammer.
Oh no, you don't. No, you do not.
No.
No, run away.
You also hate money, sir.
If you think you hate money now, just wait.
Just wait.
Can I
just
interest you in Legacy? If you want to play Warhammer, I will bring you the cheaper alternative.
There are cheaper alternatives like crack cocaine.
I'm interested in the concept of getting into Legendary into Warhammer. I am not interested in actively purchasing Warhammer product.
Yeah.
But I liked it like that. I did like the unique cards. I did like a lot of the flavor. I thought there was a lot of flavor wins. That was pretty much my good thing.
Okay.
Like a second half good thing was probably Explorer on Arena. I actually am slightly interested in the Pioneer formats, but I'm not completely satisfied with Explorer at the moment because it does not include all of the meta that's in Pioneer.
Right. And I think it's going to take a while for that to happen.
Yeah, it's going to take
years.
What about you,
Pioneer's
Johnny?
awesome. Play Pioneer.
Oh.
So this is going to sound a little weird, but one of the things that I think that Wizards was doing right is including art cards into the packages.
Okay. I agree.
It really helps to showcase the artists behind that they hire. Really helps to like broaden another aspect of like showing how much Wizards puts their thought and care into their product. Not necessarily so much about the people buying the product, but the people they hire for to put these images onto paper to help like explore these scenes and ideas that come from these cards.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have to very much agree.
And it also helps that a couple of them are like flavored. For example, the D&D set, Battle for Baldur's Gate, you flipped it over, you had monster stats straight from the book.
Yeah, I don't know to speak for you guys, but I'll put up the idea that a big reason I play Magic and I collect Magic is I love the art. I don't necessarily have paintings from a reputable known artists, but I have Magic art on my wall.
We're looking right behind you. Tatio is right behind you.
Toddy with a body. I love Magic art, and so when they kind of really endorsed the artists a lot more by giving those art cards out to, and pushed the beautiful art of Magic by giving those art cards out. It was a huge win. It was a great thing to do because the art of Magic is a big part of why I like Magic.
All right, what about you, Kyle? What do you think?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Would you buy an art book of just the card art?
Coffee table style, yeah, absolutely.
Style.
That please take my money.
Like I'd probably put it up on this shelf right next to me.
No,
I would. That hasn't been done yet.
I would.
I think they did a few years ago.
They did.
Okay.
I would actually only buy it if it was AI art.
So often.
The problem with that is, that would be cool. I mean, like I'm a little picky on the art I like.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, like every set has tons of cards I like. But I was thinking, if you were to go into like New Capenna and grab like 50 cards, I'd probably end up liking 2 or 3 of them. So I might not buy that book. And the way that you could, you can't have it where I can a la carte the 50 arts I want for mine.
But that'd
be a hard product to sell me. But in premise, the idea if I could put my favorite or even like half of them be beautiful art that I love, I'd take my money. Yes.
I have a deck box full with art cards in it because I'm really starting to think about how I'm going to put together like a frame and just in my room have a framed thing of that. So, Kyle, what about you? Any good thoughts for the year?
The good thoughts. I mean, it's already been said, but that's the only real good thing that I could think of was like the secret layer like subsets or the mainstream sets like Warhammer and Transformers and I guess and Stranger Things. I couldn't get my hands on any of those, but I think they're great. They look great. And I have an answer for stuff that's coming up.
All right.
But yeah, it's those subsets that I do like with Ikoria, with Godzilla. I am all for that. If the only bad thing about the Warhammer stuff is that they were a little bit expensive for a standard commander deck.
It was ridiculous a bit with that. I will give you that.
And
but I mean, I love the fact that they're still printing them. Like they
are still printing them. I walked into a Walmart today and they had it.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's great.
I picked up my fourth
one.
one.
LGS doesn't have it.
Yeah, I picked up my 4th one, so now I have all 4. All right, so let's do this. Let me real quick. We're going to pause for a quick commercial message. We'll come back with question number 3. How you guys feeling about that? Unless anybody's got any more discussion here. All right.
I mean, the only thing go ahead.
Go ahead, Johnny. Or Apollo, sorry.
Just to add on to the art card point, I very much love the art cards so much. I would rather use those as proxies rather than any other thing. Like in several of my decks now, like the ancient Copper Dragon art card, I got a signed art card version of that versus actually getting the card. And damn right, I'm gonna put that right in my deck and use it as a proxy.
Absolutely.
I actually have the set art card for it as well.
Nice.
That'd be kind of cool too. Just throw that sideways. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will be, let's do this real quick commercial. Parkman can't complain because he's on the podcast tonight. So we'll be right back after this.
When toxic culture has you down.
When you're just looking to laugh and have fun.
Kick back and enjoy watching a video game.
Or just make some new friends.
It's time to visit the Geek to Geek Media Network, a community of podcasters, streamers, and bloggers.
Well, more of a family than a community.
All dedicated to geeking out about the things we love. Things like
video games,
Star Wars,
comics,
movies,
K-pop,
Disney Plus,
Keanu Reeves,
new,
or whatever our community decides is the next best thing.
That's right. We have a great online community on Slack and Discord where we chat about our weekly geekery with listeners and viewers.
And each other.
Yep, and each other in real time, and we can't wait for you to join us.
So come check us out at geektogeekmedia.com.
And escape toxic fandom for something much more...
Keanu?
Yes, Keanu.
Main phase.
Parkman. Jesus. And Johnny pulls up visual aids. I mean, damn it. All right. And I knew I wasn't going to get a whole episode with it. Oh, no, damn, it's allowed. All right. So let's do this. Let's get to question number 3. This is kind of the one I've been most excited for. Again, let's try to keep this to where we make our responses, write down anything we kind of want to talk to somebody about. I want everybody to make sure they get some time on the hot take. So we're going to start this one off with Parkman since I started the last one. Parkman, what is your hottest take?
Well, Will, actually, you and I kind of discussed this on the episode that I was on with you, and I can't think of anything hotter.
Okay, moving on. Jake, no.
No, but I'd love to hear what any of the other guys
go ahead. What's your
say about the thought that we need a pack aimed at the competitive players, and I don't think that the set booster is it because of all the ancillary cards that are included in it.
Yeah, that is something we absolutely should talk about. Everybody write that for an opinion. Jake, what about you?
So my hot take is, let me preface this with, I think Legacy is the best form of competitive Magic when it's good. When the format is decent, I think Legacy is as good as it gets, price excluded. Magic 30, the Magic 30 packs, is the absolute best thing WotC has done in 10 years to make Legacy affordable.
Right. That's interesting. But it's $1,000 for 4 packs. How is that affordable?
I'll tell you why.
All right, we're going to get into this.
Let me tell you why. Magic 30 is without a doubt the biggest step WotC has taken in more than 10 years to abolishing the reserve list.
Ooh.
Without a doubt.
That's a hot take.
We have Morrow on record saying we will not print reserve list art on traditional sized cards.
Yes.
We have WotC on record saying we will not discuss printing reserve list cards. WotC just printed reserve list cards. You know what? They're not tournament legal. But this is the closest we've seen WotC come in a very long time to printing reserve list cards. We went from WotC won't even talk about it. They won't talk about why they won't talk about the reserve list to, don't get me wrong, it's a bullcrap pack and you shouldn't buy it. It's terrible. But they printed reserve list art on traditional size cards.
Okay. What about you, Apollo? What do you think? Hottest take?
Hottest take? I mean, not necessarily much as a hottest take as probably a blatant point. Magic Arena, I feel, is just criminally underfunded.
Really?
In the respect of, I have mobile games and other games that I play that have bi-weekly updates that release new content bi-weekly. They could be adding post content continuously to Magic Arena and just backfilling it continuously on a regular update schedule. And there's no regular update schedule for Magic Arena. Like, when is the next Explorer coming out? I have no idea.
Interesting. Johnny, what about you?
See, my hot take was not necessarily directed at Wizards itself, but it's kind of the ancillary point of Apollo's. I really think that they're putting too much funding into these digital place games.
Okay, I can't disagree with that.
It's so much. They're trying to reach and they're trying to put their hands into so many different pies that at what point are they going to realize that if they aren't going to stick with what they're doing and they're going to try to keep doing it while they're trying something new, while also trying something else new, while also trying something else new, at what point are they going to realize that the house of cards is going to fall? No pun intended.
Kyle, what about you?
I don't know if this is a hot take, but it's just something that just came up when talking about Arena. Like with Pokemon TCG, I don't play it, but I've seen enough videos on it. Each pack comes with a code that you can enter online, and you can get a pack to play on their game. Have WotC implement that into Arena, gets more people into Arena, and gets more cards for that game from these people. Might not be a hot take, but that's something that I would love to see.
They do that with some of their products.
With some of them, with pre-release.
Very few.
With pre-release and promo cards, they do. But not...
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like at that point, they're just telling you, choose which one you like best and go with that.
Right.
No, they're telling you, hey, spend $500 on this mobile game and you can get every card you want. It's an exaggeration, but
that also is then going against their predatory nature of Arena.
Mm-hmm. The idea of forcing you to buy these cards multiple times. I mean, up to 3 if you want to play an MTGO, which I think is a wonderful format. If you can get used to the way it works.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful way to play Magic.
Or terrible.
It's not. It's not. I politely but firmly disagree.
That's my hot take.
Those cards,
MTGO interface is terrible. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not a hot take. Oh, there's plenty.
Everybody agrees.
Magic XL.
Right, basically.
Has anyone played Arena or MTGO in the last 5 years? It's gotten a couple big facelifts.
I've played it, and every time I've lost, it's because I didn't know what I was doing with it.
Gotcha. So because you didn't take the time to learn how to play your deck, you lost. Okay.
No, I didn't learn how to play their stupid thing because it's not intuitive. All right, my hot take. I really feel that for Wizards to continue succeeding, for Wizards to be successful, that 2 things have to happen. Number one, as we said, the reserve list has to go. That's not a hot take. I think a lot of people feel that that's important. But the other big thing is that for Wizards to succeed, they need to fail. I really believe that at this point. They need to have the worst year on record. They need to start laying people off like Morrow, the head of their CEO. Maybe not. You can't get rid of the CEO of Hasbro, but CEO of Wizards and things of that nature. They have completely, because they have chased the whales, which is what Parkman was saying earlier. By chasing the whales the way they have left the quote-unquote Walmart mindset, which is how Walmart came into business. Was they priced everything so cheap because they knew everybody would buy it. They were like, you know what, we'll take less of a profit on this because so many people are going to buy it. Had they made the MTG 30 packs $15 even, and able to get anywhere else all year round like they are with the Warhammers, they would have sold $1 billion worth. But because they got so over greedy, and that's the leadership problem. So I think for Wizards to really succeed long term, they have to fail. And that's my hot take. So discuss. I know Jake's got a few thoughts. I know. So open floor.
One of the things that I'd like to point out with what you just said, it could be that they had that discussion about, like they said, like they didn't want to put set art from the reserve list onto freaking car that size.
Right.
And it could be that this was their concession. It not so much a way of fishing for whales, so much as making sure that these were so out of reach from the casual players that it essentially caused it to become nothing more than a glorified proxy that was officially licensed.
So that's possible. But what I will tell you is that, in my opinion, my experience with Wizards of the Coast is if you pay attention to what they do, they trial run a lot of things before they do it.
Right.
And I'll give you the most recent example that I can think of. Do you remember many moons ago when they came out with a special event where they retuned Oko on Arena?
Yes.
And several other cards.
Yeah, it was.
Because I don't play Arena.
That's fair. That's reasonable.
I
Very
do
reasonable.
remember that.
I do remember that. We talked
led
about
into
it.
Alchemy.
That led into Alchemy.
Exactly. That led about almost 6 months later, I think, into an entire format around rebalanced and online designed cards. It was absolutely an event to trial run it.
And I'll say this right now.
I'll jump.
The Double Masters boost, the Double Master collector set there, the one pack for $100. That was their trial for this. I fully believe that. You know, what was it? 20 cards for $100. That's what this screams like, because it was
hyper premium, hyper valuable cards.
It was hyper, and it was successful. You couldn't find them. So yeah, you're not wrong. That is exactly what Wizards does.
But I'll jump in.
Yeah,
I'll jump
ahead,
in
Johnny.
on this about
Parkman.
going back to Apollo's comment about Arena not getting enough content. My worry is that if you at some point they're going to run out of old cards to print, in which case, in order to make more content, they're going to have to put more into Alchemy, which no one likes.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I think that is, while it is a true statement, I think you are 10 years in the future. And I'll be surprised if WotC is thinking more than 2 or 3.
Yeah. They don't want it.
I think one of the other issues that leads to
Hold up, John.
Arena
Apollo's
feeling-
going to hop in.
Oh, sorry.
Hold up. Go on.
Yeah, so I was gonna hop in on that. To comment on your Parkmania, I was not considering that with Alchemy in mind. I absolutely hate Alchemy. I don't like any of the cards, and I would rather just play with old cards than play with Alchemy. That's one of the reasons why I feel like there should just be regular historical updates. And I feel like you've hit that critical mass of historical updates. I mean, at that point, we're just at standard now, right? We're just getting the normal card flow.
Right. What do you think, Johnny?
All right. So one of the issues that I think leads to Arena feeling underfunded because of that is ultimately because of server space.
Okay.
Like, you want to make sure you make money off of this, but at the end, they're still counting. They're still got to be pinching pennies left and right, wherever they can, especially in a digital space like this, because you can print them ad infinitum, but you've also got to make sure that you've got enough space to store each of those. Like, you got to make sure that you've got enough resources that you don't end up collapsing it again, like everybody is so fond of doing when they print infinite copies of tokens.
Right. Well, that's not so much server as it is local stuff here. That's what causes your thing to crash. Is that it is really going to be very hard for them to overwhelm these servers. Speaking, because I work in IT, it's a database. I think the whole problem with the rules, and that's the thing I would disagree with Apollo, is that the database is the problem. The fact that they have to code these cards in. Now, once they code a certain subset in, like if you code Forest Walk, well, now we open up Forest Walk for everything. But it's the matter of trying to get it all to work inside the thing. And they don't do enough testing, and they don't do enough beta testing to keep it stable. The minute they introduce something like that, something else breaks. And that's a problem. You're not wrong. Go ahead, Apollo.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by it's criminally underfunded. They probably have only 1-2 teams top working on Arena. There's not enough people specifically working on Arena to make Arena a functioning game.
Well, I feel
like
fragile.
It's not a functioning game.
I think
it's very fragile. Yeah.
I think they built it badly, and I think it's fragile. I don't disagree. What about you, Jake? You look like you have something you want to say.
I was going to jump in with we're talking about the stability of Magic on Arena and probably the poor quality of its coding. And I would like to reference, there's an article I read, and I believe what it was from is there are several organizations that scrub data from Arena.
Right.
Card ID. So things like 17 Lands, where they're using like the individual card IDs that Arena is using to identify what decks are and basically gather data passively in the background. And I don't remember who was posted it, but what got posted was there was an issue with a specific swamp coming into play and doing something weird, right?
Right.
And what it led the internet to kind of hypothesize is that since this is the only swamp causing issues, do they code each individual swamp separately? Because if swamps cause issues, then if you think about how every swamp is essentially the identical card with an additional text on there for art, which should be minimum just to locate a file ID.
You're not wrong.
Then why is it this one swamp caused a lot of problems unless swamps have unique IDs in some capacity?
Well, they would because of the art, but yeah.
Well, shouldn't they? Well, I'm not a coder, so.
Right.
But in my mind, wouldn't you code a swamp and then have it pull for that swamp a unique, one unique ID for the art?
No, each swamp has to have a unique ID because you have to have 60 cards in your deck. Yeah.
So each individual art of swamp.
Right.
But that should still end up being a cut and paste in that at that point.
And we were talking about like why, if one swamp causes these problems, and the internet was going crazy about like if they're coding, maybe no wonder it takes them so long to get this stuff up. If they have to code each individual swamp, each individual planes, every single art they put on there, on top of making the system harder to run, that's what we thought. But we're also not code junkies. So
what about you, Kyle? You got anything? He's muted.
I unfortunately don't. I don't.
Well, that's why you're here. You're the newest player. Like you just started. So
I don't have many hot takes as everyone else. I see everyone complain about everything, like with Arena and with just how many sets there are, but that's it. I'm not a legacy player. I'm not a pioneer player or explorer.
Is there a complaint we've had that you listen to it and go, I think that's just dumb to complain about that?
Right. And you could say
not in a rude way. You're not going to make me mad.
Yeah.
No. I honestly don't. I see the problems with Arena. I see that it is probably the worst thing Magic has brought out. I haven't played MTGO, so I don't know how that is. And I know Spell Table is owned by WotC, and that could use an overhaul. With the cards not seeing, like, you click on the card and it doesn't register right away. It's just minor things that could happen, but that I guess Arena is the biggest thing, and I don't play it enough to really like hound on it, I guess.
All right,
I've only played it when we did giveaways, and everyone here knows how well I did that.
Well, let's go ahead and then pivot off of that. Then let's get to the next question here, because we're at about an hour. We're gonna go a little over, obviously. I really want to do this. Like, what show besides obviously DR Casual do you guys feel is making great content for Magic? And I'll start with Jake because it's your question. Do you know of any content creators out there that are making good content for Magic that are not my show? Yes.
There is a show that I very much enjoy listening to.
It's MTG Goldfish, we know.
And it is called... I have several podcasts I listen to.
Right.
If I had to pick one that I like the most, it would probably be Eternal Glory, the Eternal Glory podcast.
Interesting. Never heard of it.
It's not mine. I do listen to my podcast a lot, but that's mostly editing.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick one other than mine, and the Eternal Glory podcast is a wonderful podcast. It's for spikes. It's for people that are looking to eke out every bit of advantage out of a competitive game of Magic. It is focused on Legacy. They do hit on Pauper quite a bit, but they regularly will have shows discussing for an hour the fundamentals of assessing a board state or building a mana base, talking about chasing down lines and how you should think about the numbers. It's headed up by Bryant Cook, Phil Gallagher, and Brian Koval. They're all content creators on YouTube. They're all semi-professional players. They've all done Pro Tour work. They're all very well known, and I like listening to their. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I think they're idiots, but very well informed and very well thought out discussions.
Sweet. How about you, Apollo?
You know, before one of the things I recently started, but before last year, I probably hadn't watched him more than once or twice. But after all of this Magic 30th stuff and the whole debacle, I actually started watching Alpha Investments a lot more. And
yeah,
just because I like hearing him rant, it's funny.
Folks.
Also, I also do like me being primarily a Commander player. I very much just enjoy watching the Command Zone. It's just an entertaining show.
It is. I don't disagree. How about you, Johnny?
Well, there's a couple that I can name. Not so much up and comers, but a couple of folks who have established themselves pretty well. The first is a sort of CEDH channel by the name of I Hate Your Deck. Because we've all been there before.
Yes.
And they're just a bunch of knuckleheads who just enjoy playing high level commander and just causing problems for each other.
Yes. Very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I would really recommend it. Occasionally they've got some guests such as the professor from Tolarian Academy, and I think they also had Post Malone a couple times.
They did.
Yeah. If, and loath as I am to promote it, Arena is more your style, I would probably recommend MTG Nerd Girl.
Yes.
She's really knowledgeable about the format. She's been playing Magic for God knows how long now. And she's very interactive. Very much goes into
yes.
some of the
But she wears clothes. She's not one of these ones playing in her bikini, guys. Like, let's put that, because I that bothers me. Like, when I see that, I'm like, I know what you're doing.
She just started her own like Commander video podcast too.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no clue. I was mostly just been on and off on the channel myself, but I really enjoy the way she talks through some of her strategies when she's building or drafting.
Right.
Just so that I get a better understanding of how it's supposed to go. Because let's face it, out of all of you, I probably am the dirtiest, rottenest casual.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'd like to interject.
Yes.
Because you'd reminded me of another channel I started watching too. It was sort of a break-off channel from I Hate Your Deck. I also really enjoy Tabletop Jocks. I think they're a very great community of players, and I just enjoy watching their nonsense.
What about you, Kyle?
Elder Dragon Hijinks. Wow. Yeah, I'm run by.
I can tell you like him a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Run by Alias V and Olivia Hicks. I really enjoy those episodes. They're funny. They're not competitive. Really, they're just there for fun, and that's what I really look forward. That's what I really look forward to. That the Command Zone, and then just a YouTuber that just does unboxings. Is oh my god,
Bad Boy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I feel like the competitive scene is slightly underrepresented in this roundtable.
You got to understand something, Jake. We could talk about that, but the truth is, we are kind of where I think this is where Magic wants us to be.
Here's what's funny.
Yeah.
With there being one person here that actually plays competitive, it's probably overrepresented as a percentage of the whole the Magic community.
I'll say this. For me, I obviously there's the big ones, the MTG Goldfishverse, Podcast Go, and Tolarian Community College with the professor. I watch those when the professor puts a video up. I watch it. He's earned my watch. He's earned my vote. I'm a patron of the Command Zone podcast, but the patron video. But for me, Bad Boy Gaming was going to be one I thought I could get away with. And Alpha Investments, he was hard to take in the beginning. But especially with this MTG 30 stuff, because he came at it, you would think because he's so big on the finance stuff, that he would come out and be like, hey, this is great. It's fantastic. You should buy like 9 of these because the value's only going to go up, blah, 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 blah. He was like, no, don't buy it. He's like, this is stupid. This is ridiculous. This is bad for everybody involved. Yes, it will make you money, but it's a horrible thing because it's going to kill Magic in the long run. And I'm in this.
I was gonna say, was he telling people not to buy it just so there would be more for him to invest in?
People ask that question, but legit, I think he's that kind of. I think he would have been like, yeah, I bought a bunch of them, but he's not.
I think he puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah. So I would definitely say Alpha Investments and Bad Boy Gaming were two. I used to watch MTG Nerd Girl. I just kind of fell away it was just kind of like she kind of leaned into being the nerd girl a little bit more than the MTG, but that's okay. I mean, here's my problem. Guys, I've been playing a lot of Marvel Snap, so I'm watching a lot of that these days. I can't help. I'm
gonna take it back. Benson's earned a title.
All right, what about you, Parkman? What do you got?
Well,
and of course, Cantrip Cartel. By the way, I love Cantrip Cartel.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. Parkman, who do you like?
I was gonna shout out 2 different podcasts that I listen to fairly faithfully. One is kind of a catch-all. They do everything. They're out of Australia. It's a group of guys called the Magic Beans.
Interesting.
Good name.
They really they've got their pulse. They partner with a game store down in Australia to do, and they have events that they run through their Discord also, and but they have content for both casual and competitive players. And the other one that I was gonna pimp is more aimed at the Pioneer format. It's called The First Pioneers. It's Kevin Finkel and Ryan, and I apologize, Ryan, I forgot your last name, but he's out of Japan, and they have guests very frequently discussing deck archetypes for the Pioneer format and where it's going and where it should go and things of that nature.
All right. Well, that's cool. Any other discussion going on here with that then?
I got one more channel to pimp that I
Go
remembered. I recently, very, very more of a newer channel for me, the Card Market channel. They're a European channel, I believe. Really, really good. As well as Spice 8 Rag, if no one's ever watched Spice 8 Rag. He's fucking great.
All right, let's go on to question 5, because I'm very interested in this. We're going to start with you, Apollo. If you could make one rule change to Magic that you think would improve the game, what would it be?
Rule change. You caught me in a bad spot. Rule change.
You can pass to Johnny if you want.
I will pass right now, and I'll come back to you.
All right, Johnny, you're up.
All right. So when you say better, do you mean better by my standard or better by your standard?
Better.
Because
whatever you think is better.
Point.
Probably objectively better.
All right. I've always been a fan of text.
Text?
Tax. Taxes. So stacks.
Taxes. Yep. Okay, stacks. Oh, jeepers. What, you're gonna make cumulative upkeep on everything, right?
No, just still like.
So what would the rule be then? What would you be looking to do?
Just like a side. Like just a way to use the extra resources that some of us end up generating sometimes. Okay. Beyond, just what we can play in our hand or out of our deck.
Have you ever played competitive Magic? Because I'll tell you what, man, in competitive Magic, we scrape every ounce out of our resources that we have access to.
I think Legacy should still have Mana Burn. Hot take.
I mean, says the guy who had to put up with what I was tapping for 10 each land.
Yeah, no shit.
That's what I mean.
All right, what about you, Kyle?
I concede.
Any words? Any rules you try to change?
Maybe the commander tax.
Would you make it more or less?
I'd make it less. I'd get rid of it altogether.
Interesting.
No. Yeah. I want to see what kind of game that would be with it without it.
Broken.
Exactly.
Broken.
Well,
Yeah.
you know. I'll tell you what.
We could do
in
that.
the world of a casual format where the point is not to do the most broken thing. It can maybe work. It can work.
I could do that.
Yeah,
on
I just want to see what kind
one
of
night we could do that. Be like,
batshit
there's no
crazy
commander
thing.
tax, but
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that working in a format where we're just here to have fun. We're not trying to play
Yeah.
broken things, and that could be fine, for sure.
Yeah, like house rules, no commander tax, but
Absolutely.
like in the game in general, I honestly don't know. So I give the floor to everyone else.
I got one.
I would.
I got one
love-
too. I remembered what I wanted.
Okay.
Go ahead and go.
I would
So,
love.
This
Oh wait,
is
it's
gonna
my
sound
turn.
Weird.
Hey.
But I used to one of the games that I used to come from that I played for about a
Can you hear
year and
me?
a half before I played Magic. It's called Force of Will. I'm not sure if anyone knows it.
Huh?
I really enjoyed drawing a card, then untapping.
Yeah.
So how they start their turn is they would, instead of untap, upkeep, draw, it would be draw, untap. It would be draw, upkeep, untap.
Interesting.
Can you interact in the same way in Magic? Can you
Yes,
stop
same,
during phase
picture
changes?
the same exact rules. Same
Oof.
exact rules. It's just you draw before you untap your mana.
Why? Can I ask why?
It feels. I played that game for about a year and a half. It felt very efficient. So it just streamlines a little bit of efficiency.
Lets you play an instant before you untap.
Yeah, it lets you play an instant before you turn. So until end of turn abilities became a little bit stronger. Yeah. Until
I
end
was
of
so
turn abilities.
broken.
Yeah.
You could draw a card, cast it, and then untap.
Yes.
Ooh, that's strong.
So until end of turn abilities, basically, what that ended up being is I think a lot of field buffs happened during that game. You could do before untap. I really enjoyed that rule. I don't think it was oppressive or broken. Like the game was relatively balanced still, and I just really like that rule. It just allows you access to one extra card before you untap.
I could see that happening, but maybe not quite in the exact same order. I could see draw, untap, then upkeep.
Right.
Just because you have so much that you have to pay for during your upkeep step that getting the draw in, you're gonna want to know it opens up a world of possibilities.
Oh, it heavily influences what you're paying for or what you're not paying for.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I think I misspoke. So I do believe the upkeep phase, the equivalent to their upkeep phase was after their untap.
Okay, that makes sense.
I apologize that. Yeah, apologize on that.
Yeah, no worries.
But then the question becomes, though, how do you handle things like treasure? Yeah, but here's the thing. That would make Smothering Tithe. Like, draw, I'm going to play an instant. It changes
True.
that aspect.
It does it does change Smothering Tide a little bit. It does change some draw base effects a little bit. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think the idea of budgeting your mana wouldn't change too much, but you would things like those upkeep effects you'd be paying for, like Smothering Tithe, would be costed quite a bit more severely because you have to pay it. You have to hold that mana the entire round. But then you get your entire mana on your turn. I think the budgeting and the way to evaluate budgeting changes a bit. But I think it's doable.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to do it. But I think it's doable.
Yeah, no, it was I thought it was a fun deviation from the traditional Magic because I played that game before Magic, knowing how to play Magic, and so the change to me a little bit. I had to legitimately chant to myself untap, upkeep, draw, because I would always just draw before, and that was specifically relevant for that game versus coming to this game.
Yep.
All right. Well, for me, I would say I kind of love the idea, just for what it could do. Add a 6 color, purple or yellow, or they have yellow. Yeah, purple colorless. Or just the idea of a new 6 color. So in essence, we'd have 7 with colorless.
I'll tell you why they'll never do that.
There are many reasons why they wouldn't, but go on.
Look at the back of a Magic card.
I know. I'm saying, there's many reasons why they wouldn't do it.
And adding that mana color 30 years into a product, I don't think would go
why not?
well.
I mean, you wouldn't play purple in anything that you didn't have purple in. Say, I'm just using purple as an example.
Right.
But, you wouldn't play purple mana unless you had purple cards. But I think what they'd have to do is almost make an entire set mainly purple. Like it would be purple and other colors. Like for them to be able to do it. I don't know that they could. It's just kind of an interesting, I think it would benefit Magic to have a 6 color or 6th way to do things. What about you, Parkman? Because I don't want to leave you guys out here. You're muted.
I'm going to
go
back to another game that I had in my store that was very successful for the short time that it existed in the World of Warcraft card game. And I'm going to pull in, and I understand, first of all, that this is going to be so powerful that you're going to have to limit the amount of times you can do it in a game.
Okay.
Any card from your hand can be played face down, think of like a morph, as a colorless land.
Ooh.
Disagree.
Okay. Can it be turned
Disagree
up?
as in you don't like it, or disagree as in...
So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not a cool idea. I'm not trying to knock your idea if you think it's cool.
Sounds like you're knocking it.
I don't like giving cards more utility. In Magic, one of the core premises of Magic that I like is every single card in your deck has a cost to run it. Minimum.
No, absolutely.
And that cost is a slot in your deck. You must draw it.
And so like go ahead.
Well, I was going to carry that over. I don't like MDFCs.
Really?
I don't like MDFCs. I don't like cards with 2 sides. As cards become higher utility, more flexible, the cost to run any individual card is lower. And the only reason cards are powerful over other cards is when they are and when they are not good. So look at that green tetrahedron card. Is what I think of. It's a little 1/1 creature, mana dork. Not a bad card. No lands, it's a land. There's very little cost to run that because it's applicable in any situation. The more you do that with cards, the lower cost it is to run the card. Cards should have costs.
Okay.
No, absolutely. And the way that the World of Warcraft game balanced that out is you lost access to the other side of the card, much like you said with the MDFCs. You lost access to the other side of the card for the rest of the game.
Yeah. And I get that you do go down a card. And that is a cost. That is a cost in a sense, for sure. It's interesting. Yeah.
It does kind of help the mana problems. There's nothing worse than getting mana screwed. It is part of Magic. Yeah. We all think that.
Right. And like I say, I understand that would be a problem, especially in your artifact decks. That's why I think you would probably have to limit it to at most 2, maybe 3 times per game.
Right. Well,
so
did you have something?
So every game you have 3 extra lands, kind of always. You always have free 3 land drops, sort of.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, again, it's bringing another rule from a different card game, but this would apply specifically only to Commander because I don't see it involving itself into a format of command, a format of Magic that doesn't include a Commander.
A 1v160 constructed, yeah.
No. My rule change would be, or thing I would like to try, having the mana separate from the deck, not including MDFCs. So the MDFCs could stay in the deck, but so specifically it actually worked for this other game specifically because you cannot use your commander if you use the commander as a utility to summon a land. So you would not be able to play your commander if you summoned a land. So specifically, their card, it was more towards a standard. Was it 4 cards in each deck? It was a 40 card deck with a 20 card land deck minimum for their particular card game. I liked it because all you had to do was specifically worry about your color choice of lands and whatnot. And that's just a kind of a rule that I liked. Like you can either use your commander or you can have a land. You cannot do both. And that kind of helped decks all the way around. It helped control decks. It helped combo decks. It helped aggro decks. It was you get a land when you need it, or you get your main card when you need it.
I think it helps. I think it disproportionately helps. Probably control decks because the worst thing that can happen in a control deck is not having action in the early game to answer threats. And being able to remove that possibility of if I can run a control deck and I get to where once I get 2 or 3 lands from my removal, I can just rip removal for a while until you don't have any more threats. And now I can build my mana base up.
Or
in this particular scenario, we are reducing the hand size as well to compensate for the extra cards.
Because I would say
that's how it
Eminence,
balanced it out as well.
Eminence would be a problem because here's the thing: when I play Edgar Markov, do I cast him?
No. I get you.
Yeah, but in fairness, Eminence is what, 4 cards?
Yeah, but it's a beautiful
4 or 5.
I mean, Eminence is busted. Well, what do you think, Jake? I want to kind of keep us moving here.
Mine isn't as interesting. Mine's a lot more fundamental, but I would say as to cue the thought in your mind, what is the biggest disparity in Magic in every single game, whether it be Commander or 1v1 constructed? I will answer, in my opinion,
Curve?
It is draw go, or it is draw versus play draw.
Right.
So to help mitigate that, I would add the rule. I think I would start with when you play, you get to go first. When you're on the draw, you get to scry 1.
Mm-mm. In 2-person,
because you were at,
or do you mean in 4-person as well?
Sure.
Okay. Because in 4-person, we all get to draw.
You are at an incredible disadvantage when you are on the draw in every game of Magic you play. I think the Command Zone came out with, this is years old by now, but their data showed that if you go first, you were like 28 or 29%, 30% to win, which, keep in mind, meant that you were 30% versus like 15, and 15.
Right.
Would it be like 18? You gained on like a 10% chance to win over everyone else at the table by going first.
Right.
That disparity is very common in competitive Magic. There's
with
literally one deck that doesn't want to go first.
I mean, there was an episode, I think 3 times ago, where draw, my first step, it was draw, Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, turn. I was like, oh.
Even just so thinking about, and this is one of those things I do as a competitive player, which you guys don't do because you don't waste your time. When you go first, you get access to infinitely more mana than everybody else, because you get 6 mana first. 6, and that's huge. And you get 7 mana first. We all get access. Let's say we all hit our land drops. We all get 7 mana turns. You got yours first.
Right.
7 mana turns end games.
Yeah, and
you got to spend 7 mana first.
Yeah, it's not just even the 6 and 7. It's you get 2 mana first. You get 3 mana first.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's
whole way up
snowballs
the
for
chain.
sure. But it's absolutely true. Yeah, you get to spend infinitely. I mean, you literally get to have access to almost twice as much mana as everyone else every turn when you end your turn. Because in the last turn, you went, let's say, 1, 2, 3. So that's 6 mana you've had access to this game. Well, I also had 6 plus these 4.
Yeah.
Now I have access to 10 mana this game when I end my turn. And that just compounds as it gets big, more and more.
Absolutely.
Well, ramp decks especially. I mean, that's kind of the upside of it.
For sure.
But
for sure.
I don't
disagree.
disagree.
So some way to help mitigate that disparity. And I think to start with, giving you a scry 1 to help smooth your draws a little bit for not getting to go first and not getting access to as much mana as the person in first.
Oh, so turn 1 doesn't scry, they draw, but turns 2 through 4 get to scry. Ah.
Yes. If you don't go first, you get a scry.
Okay.
And that was a mulligan rule for a while.
It was, yes.
It was before the London. It was a Vancouver mulligan. Right. Yeah. Which, I mean, and that's the thing. Mulliganing, that's something that nobody really talks about. And that might be a future episode, is mulliganing, because I think that is a key component to winning a game is, you know, I say it all the time. I get yelled at, when you're watching Commander Craft, because it's like, Will got a Soul Ring. Will got this. Will mulligan turn 1. I will mulligan 2 or 3 lands to see if maybe I pull a Soul Ring on in a second.
Yep.
Because we have a mulligan. Yeah. So
mulliganing is probably the single most powerful thing you'll do in a game of Magic.
Yep.
And I'm terrible at it.
Yep. A lot of people are. It's hard to do well.
All right. So let's finally pivot, unless somebody else has something.
Apollo?
Yeah, I had one question. It was kind of on yours for the competitive. You were saying your answer to the play go was the scry 1. What would your opinion be on like a Hearthstone coin that everyone has? So like one free mana. Yeah. One free like say everyone who wasn't first started the game with a gold token.
Game
or just a mana
in older formats and competitive. So in Pioneer, probably whatever. In Standard, probably whatever. Probably totally mitigated by relative slowness. In Modern, almost for sure game breaking. In Legacy, absolutely game breaking. No question. No question.
I mean, you could even say
basically like a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Ooh. What do you mean, like a conspiracy?
Well, I don't know if you remember, there was, when the Monarch was introduced, there was also conspiracies.
Yeah.
Which were like cards outside of the deck that you would try to like get off against your opponents.
Yeah, I remember those. I didn't really draft anything, but I found them saying where it's like if you draft this, secretly choose a color, and then you get a benefit if something happens in game because you drafted it. Something.
Conspiracy was fun. It was a fun draft. It was a fun format.
So I will tell you that in the realm of adding additional cards to your gaining access to additional cards outside of your deck or hand, I think is either impossible to balance or just
knock companions.
I think it's impossible to balance. The cards are, especially in competitive formats, and this is some different opinions than you guys because you view casual Magic is very different. But the resources of the number of cards you have access to on any given turn or as the game goes by is without a doubt probably the most important thing in a game of competitive Magic. Case in point, Companions absolutely destroyed competitive Magic for a long time. Any of the remotely playable ones destroyed it, especially as it was designed, because you just had an 8th card.
Yeah.
And it was so gosh darn broken.
Yep.
And so the conspiracy style of making it a little more broad and being able to add additional resources to you that you own outside the deck but you have access to, I think follows that train.
Okay, so in the rule question, do you think, because they've done it in Arena, 5-card Wishboard and Commander? Because you can't do Wishboard cards. It opens up a whole other realm of play in Commander if you could have a 5-card Wishboard. Thoughts?
Doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me either.
No.
Like, and that's something if I've sat down and someone was like, hey, I kind of want a home rule, you can have Wishboards a reasonable number. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care.
I think 5 to 7
play
is a
wish
reasonable
cards.
number. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's go to our final question here. Question number 6. And yes, we're over. Too bad, guys. You're going to listen to this a couple days on your way to work. What Magic or product or event are you most looking forward to in 2023? So we are going to start with, I think we left Johnny. It's Johnny. That's question 6. So we've gone around the horn.
Honestly, I don't really know. I try to keep spoilers to a minimum. I just try to view the products as they come from the. I try to look at the products from outside of a player's perspective, like just see what they are as, just your regular consumer that's out and about on his day. Because honestly, what's going to draw me to it is ultimately what I feel from what I see.
Okay. How about you there, Kyle? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Johnny.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, Kaldheim looked okay. The packaging was okay.
Right.
Wasn't out of their mind insane, but at the same time, I was like, okay. Ikoria, New Capenna, Neon Dynasty, that all those had a way of still drawing the attention. I wonder what the gimmick is in this particular one. Or are they bringing something back?
Okay.
This might be a very sensitive topic because it is a universe beyond product, but the Lord of the Rings Commander decks or set, I'm really looking forward
It's modern, not so much Commander.
That's
the problem I have with it.
I thought they were coming out with Commander
they're going to have Commander decks, but it's going to be a full set that is going to be modern legal. But they stated
we have a bot. Go on.
But they stated that it was not designed as a Modern Horizons 3. The power level is not there. The only reason they say that they made it modern legal was to get more people to buy it.
Okay, and that's my whole thing is. When I told my friends about that, Magic is doing Lord of the Rings tie-in, they're like, I would play that because it is Lord of the Rings, and so that's what I'm really looking forward to this year is the Lord of the Rings.
What you're saying is, WotC fully admitted that product's not for everybody, but it's gonna be for you because we made it. We made it legal, so you have
Yep.
It's not. Yep. Hey, it's not for you, except you have to.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Will I play Modern? I don't know. I might dabble in it because
Well,
I've never done it
here's
before.
the thing.
but-
Realize, guys, the Lord of the Rings set is Modern Horizons 3. I mean, it is.
It's in the slot.
Yeah. It's in the slot. It's Modern Horizons 3. And they're using Lord of the Rings cards. Okay, fine. For me, the thing I'm most looking forward to this year, I'm not going to lie, I love the idea of a Doctor Who commander set. Like the four commander decks, the big commander release, it's going to be based around Doctor Who. Yeah, I get
I really
Universe
hope we get
Beyond
the War
sucks.
Doctor then.
Huh? I got to figure. Well, they're going to have...
I really hope we get the War Doctor.
Yeah, they're going to have the scarf. They're going for an equipment. Like there'll be a screwdriver. My light fell. I got to fix it. But
the Master
yeah.
is one of the commanders.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
don't
probably.
know if it's been in. I haven't seen if they've released any of them.
They haven't talked about it, but the TARDIS will be a vehicle. I'm looking forward to that. What about you, Parkman?
Well, as a product, I'm looking forward to Lord of the Rings also. I hope that they have enough. I'm trying to decide whether I really want them to actually have Soul Ring be the One Ring, or if I think that's too easy and should not be done. That they need to develop something new.
I mean,
but
there's a whole bunch of rings in Lord of the Rings, so they could be any one of those rings. I think the One Ring will be its own card.
I think but it'll be like a Super Soul Ring. It'll tap for 3.
But for an event, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I've got it circled on my calendar, May 5th through 7th, MagicCon Minneapolis. Because that's in my neck of the woods. I'm hopeful that MagicCon Philadelphia, which is I'm looking here, comes up in middle of February. I hope that they solve a lot of the problems that they had in Vegas. I think that getting a larger event space is going to help them. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm looking forward to it until such time as I'm not looking forward to it.
All right. What about you there, Jake?
So this has a competitive tint again.
Of course it does.
I'm actually the one thing I'm most excited for is revisiting Phyrexia, because in both Modern and Legacy, the deck design of Infect has taken a pretty big downhill turn in recent years. The decks are pretty unplayable, and I think Infect is a great aggressive strategy. So I'm really excited that we're getting a chance at new Infect cards, because they need new, better Infect cards.
I tried to put together a Pioneer one Infect deck recently, and it's just not there yet. The cards are not there.
And that's how it is in Modern and Legacy too. They used to be legit powerhouses, and I mean, in fairness, in their own right, they're still incredibly powerful, but they don't hold a candle to those formats. They need a juice, and going back to Phyrexia gives us a chance to get some good Infect cards for those decks. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. All right, what about you, Apollo?
Me specifically, nothing. I would say nothing, no specific product. I have not really been engaging in booster pack style products in a while, so I'm just generally excited for the Commander style products. So I know every single card that are in them before I buy them, and I know I'm guaranteed all the cards inside them. I just generally like those. I really enjoyed the Warhammer ones. I really enjoyed the Mishra one. I got the Mishra one, and whatnot. That's just my flavor of product.
Okay. How about you there, Johnny? Oh, wait, you started, right? Yeah. All right. Any other discussion on that? Anything else we want to kind of talk about before we move to end step here?
I'll make a comment that Apollo is absolutely correct in buying product where he knows what the cards are.
Right.
You didn't quite say buy singles, because you're still buying a box, but you're buying a box with known cards. Buy singles. Anyone listening, either buy a commander deck where you know what you're getting, or buy singles. Don't buy packs. They're fun.
I'm 100% getting singles.
Scratch offs are addicting. I get it. Buy singles.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So on that note, first of all, let me just say real quick before we head out of here, guys, thank you. This is a lot of fun. So
hey, you're welcome.
Those of you listening, this is pretty much going to be our pool of second seaters for a while. I mean, there'll be people hopping in and out, of course. But, we're going to have people kind of sitting second chair as often as we can. So I'm really appreciative to each of you for kind of sitting in tonight. Anybody have anything they want to pimp? We'll start with Kyle. Any streams or anything?
Sure. My main podcast is Atomic Geekdom. You can find it on all the major podcasting platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Atomic Geekdom, YouTube. We do live podcast shows on Twitch, twitch.tv/Atomic Geekdom. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Kyle Krause89, and I do some twitch.tv/KKrause89.
Okay. Parkman, how about you? Got anything you want to pimp?
I think I'm pretty good at this time.
Okay. How about you? Jake, do you have anything that you do?
I do some. I have.
Is it
so
competitive?
If you want to check out what?
Is it competitive? Yeah.
Yes, it's a pretty competitive slanted podcast where we look at every week we analyze the competitive meta for modern, legacy, and then anything else we think is interesting. So Cantrip Cartels, the podcast, it's anchor.fm/Cantrip Cartels, our main website, but we're Cantrip Cartel everywhere. If you want to email us, cantripcartel@gmail.com. It's a lot of fun. Every week, me and Matt talk about what's going on in competitive world of Magic, at least for the older formats. And I'd love to have you guys come check us out. We're not for everybody, but the people that like us a lot.
Yes, I'm somebody who likes you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, even though you didn't recommend my podcast.
I did recommend your podcast after I thought.
Oh, that's right. You forgot to, and then cut off Apollo so you could say so.
Yeah. Well, Apollo cut me off like 8 or 9 times, so it's all good. Apollo, what about you? You got anything you're pimping?
I don't have anything I'm pimping. I don't pimp enough.
What about you, Johnny?
Man, I'm a shameless shill. For those of you who are into, cards, why not check out these goofballs at their respective Twitch channels? Or you can catch them on Spotify, Podbean, whatever else. I want to personally shout out a friend of mine by the name of Garlisle Wilds, a bit of a speedrunner and a Mega Man enthusiast. Check out his podcast, What Am I Podcasting For? It's a Mega Man podcast where he is trying to play through all of the Mega Man games in chronological order. And, cool. He's a stronger man than I. Boy.
All right.
And if you enjoy my shenanigans, you can catch me on twitch.tv/Sage Storyteller every other Saturday playing a D&D stream for my friend Sage Storyteller.
Very cool. And of course, I have DR Casual MTG, so it's Benson MTG on Twitch, but that'll get changed once I get out of the 50-day can't change my name on Twitch thing. But everywhere else, it's DR Casual MTG. So YouTube, Facebook, etc., etc. But I guess, and don't forget, Thursday night we're going to have Commander Craft. Johnny is playing his Chilean deck. We're going to try to figure out decks to beat it. Apollo, you're more than welcome. Jake, I know you pretend to do something on Thursday, but you're more than welcome to play any week.
And,
I might, depending. I still need some extra cards for my Infinite Miram deck, but I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, well, that's great. Infinite Miram and Chilean. This will be the funnest episode never. All right.
Chilean's pretty good. I can play Tatiova, right?
You can play Tatiova. I'm tempted to play
Tatiova in my deck. Why not?
The way he went off last week, I'm tempted to play Brea at this point. I mean, I'm not...
Dude. When we played CEDH for the fundraise show a little while ago, and you just out of freaking nowhere.
That's how that deck works, man.
I loved it.
All right. So let's do this. On that note, we want to thank you guys very much for listening to us tonight. We will be back next Tuesday with episode 5 of the DR Casual MTG podcast. Special thank you again to Kyle, to Parkman, to Jake, to Apollo, and to Johnny for hanging out with us tonight. Check out our Twitch, Benson MTG. Check out our Discord, discord.drcasualmtg.com. And again, come back on Thursday for Commander Craft. But for everybody else at this table, this is Will Benson saying thank you very much for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. And as always, remember to keep some of your mana untapped because you never know when you'll need it. Take care, have a good week, and I said take care, but I'm doing it again. Bye-bye! And that's a result of the 8.3% Scottish Ale. So that was where my brain went sideways. Like, I didn't even do end step. I didn't do like all the pimps. I just kind of was like, we're out.
Long episode anyway.
It was cool.
Oh,
so,
not
can we
one
take
of you.
roll?
We can swear now, right? No, we're not recording.
Yeah. We're still on cast.
Not one of you fucking assholes just pretended to like Cantrip Cartel for 10 minutes.
I thought
totally
everyone else was
forgot,
still gonna do it.
Excuse me, I'm a patron, sir.
30 seconds.
I'm
Man,
a patron, sir.
I haven't even seen the show. I'm sorry.
He doesn't
Bill
do
said
like
in the
stream.
notes that he was going to be the one to pimp it, so I was.
It
totally.
Says, spoiler alert! I'm gonna say Cantrip Cartel.
In fairness,
LOL.
I tease. We are.
I know.
I mean, the competitive side of Magic, which is basically that's all we do, is very, very small. Like I said, I legitimately believe just me being here as a competitive representative, we're overrepresented in this roundtable.
Well, I mean, I'm more competitive than casual, but I'm the casual side of competitive because I'm too poor to invest in all the decks.
I agree to that. I like
proxy,
playing,
baby.
I like playing around level 8 power decks because it's a lot what my friend groups likes to play around. Even though I never really actually bring a real level 8. It's usually like a 7.5.
Like I said, I don't own a commander deck, so.
Yeah.
The most competitive commander deck I probably own is probably my Veyron Cantrip deck. And it's just 20 spells that say draw a card, and then it has infinite is it Spellslinger shenanigans that
nice.
Deletes people.
Yeah, but deletes people.
Just deletes people. Just control if the deck ever resolves Mystic Mastery, the entire board is dead.
Well, I mean, nice. If I resolve my 8 mana spell, the board is also dead.
You're correct.
But yeah, no, I get you. That I've noticed is one of the key differences just in that jump from like 5/6 to 7/8 is a 5 or 6 resolves 7, 8, 9 mana spells and gets a cool splashy effect for flavor or awesome. Your 7s, your 8s, you resolve your 8, 9 mana spell and you win the game. It's over.
Yeah.
And then the difference is when you get to 9s and 10s, you're resolving 4 or 5 mana spells and the game is over. If I did like a 30,000 foot view of like the power ranking scale.
It resolves ad nauseum, game is over.
Pretty much.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay 5 mana at the end of your turn and draw 30 cards. Good luck, guys.
GG's. All right. Guys, thanks for everything. We're gonna stop the stream now, guys, as well. So everyone take care. Thanks very much. You guys can hang out if you want to talk afterward. But thanks very much for watching the stream, everybody. Hope you guys dug it. Make sure you check us out on Thursday for Commander Craft. Bye.